These seasons are not long enough. JL and the Titan Spike. Not the topic. I was not prepared. Of all the things to happen, I was not expecting that. Way to stab the audience in the heart. Hi guys, welcome back to another Nerd Rants video. I finally got around to watching The Chosen Season 4. Yay. One, these seasons are not long enough. Yes, I get that most of the episodes are an hour long, but also 8 episodes is not long enough. I got to the end of the season and just went, no, not the last episode, no. Now I have to wait for the 5th season, which may or may not be the last one. That's when based on lead up, it's getting close to the end of Jesus' story, at least. So on Earth, I suppose. So we'll see. I don't know if they'll take it further, like into acts or something, but we'll see. Anyway, the CW has it now, so they might stretch it out for way too many seasons. Sorry. Just CW shows. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it. As always, it was so good. Acting's phenomenal. I love how into scripture and stuff everything is, but it's just very good, and I like how they're able to take these things that we don't have a lot of like description, I guess, of how it happens. Like, we know what's happening, but we don't necessarily have it told of how it's happening, and they're able to take like the 4 perspectives from the different gospels and create an image with it that's very, very beautiful. I love having this visualization of the gospels. It's wonderful, and I want more of that. Like, I want more shows like this that are of this quality and of this caliber, but of different parts, like different version books of the Bible or whatever. Old Testament has some interesting stories, like Elijah. I always mix up which is which, but calling down going on Mount Carmel with the prophets of Baal, calling down fire. That would be really, really cool. The Exodus would be really cool. Judges. Don't know if y'all have read Judges, but it's got some very fun stories in it. JL and the Titan Spike. One of my favorites. But yeah, see, it'd be really cool to have this branch out and them make more stories of that, because I feel like in the Old Testament, at least, you get more descriptions of how things happen, so you could almost go further with that than we can with the Gospels. Like, it's described basically step by step what happens, but yeah, as far as like description of how it happens, it's not as much. Whereas the Old Testament, it's like the stories of, I don't know, I feel like it's just described a little bit better, Old Testament stories at least. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But anyway, no, not the topic. Okay, so we're just gonna come right out and say it. I was not prepared for episode 3. Of all the things to happen, I was not expecting that. I mean, I don't know if I should have seen it coming, since Rama is not technically a character that like exists in the Gospels, but still, I was not ready for them to just straight up murder a character. legitimately was not prepared. And they do very well with intro setups with like flashbacks to David or flash forwards to them, you know, during post-resurrection time, and kind of introducing the theme of whatever the theme of the episode is. So starting off with David and Bathsheba losing their son. So I knew Jesus wasn't going to raise her from the dead. What they were surrounded by a crowd anyway, and that's, you know, not that death he reverses in public. That's reserved for Lazarus. But man, the actor for Thomas, my goodness. It was another scene that about got me. Like, I about cried. I didn't. Partially because I needed to keep seeing what was happening on screen, because these people are just very, very good at portraying these characters. Gosh, that there were tears in the eyes. There were definitely tears in the eyes, but they did not spill over. Oh my gosh, guys. And Rainbow was a fairly lovable character, and like her and Thomas being the awkward little couple, it was so cute. And watching them get chauffeured around by people was adorable. I just made it so freaking sad. They were literally a few days from being married, and then they straight up just murder her because he goes off the deep end, which him going full control freak insane was also very well done. Gosh, the actor for Quintus did great with all of that, and just running around and being like, this needs to be to the letter how the law is done, because I'm about to like lose everything. Everyone who didn't believe in me is about to be proven right. I need to reverse this. And then in fit of anger, just straight up murders her. And that's what it leads to his downfall. And it's like, oh man, it was done so well. Also the development of Peter, because, you know, we have the development over the last 3 seasons, obviously. But kind of seeing it come to kind of its peak in this one, because he gets the name Peter. It's official. I don't have to keep remembering to call him Simon. He is officially Peter now. But seeing him then try and jump into that role of leadership, and literally asking Jesus, like, what am I supposed to do now? You've set me apart from everyone else in the group. How am I supposed to lead them? And especially with like him trying to help Thomas, because he to some extent understands the loss he's going through. Just, it's beautiful. Peter's becoming more and more of my like favorite disciple as we go along. Like, I relate to Andrew and the anxiety and all of that, but I love Peter. Some of my favorite scenes are with Peter. Yeah. Oh man, talking about Andrew. So, first episode is literally John, the lead up to John getting killed and decapitated and all of that. Andrew's reaction. It was an knife to the heart, guys. Oh my gosh. What's the actor's name? Noah something? Noah James or whatever. Anyway. Sheesh, dude. Way to stab the audience in the heart. Like, literally can't stand stumbling back into Peter's arms, and Peter just lowers him to the ground and is embracing his brother. I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And seeing Jesus do the Jewish tradition with the torn clothes and the ash on his face and stuff, also wonderful. Love that they're involving that as well. I almost wish, since they had involved it with John's death, that they had Thomas do it with Rhema or something. I don't know if there's different like regulations or something that go along with that particular tradition. I don't know. I feel like they had Jesus with that whole reaction to John's death, and then no one really did anything traditions-wise with Rhema's death. I don't know. That's my nitpick. And I don't fully understand Jewish tradition anyway, so I don't know if them doing anything for Rhema in that sense, in like that kind of way, is traditionally correct or not. But anyway, yeah. And then, oh gosh, what's her dad's name? I can't remember Rhema's dad's name, but literally taking the body away from them and saying, you're not allowed to come any farther. You're not allowed in this town, in this region anymore. You're not allowed to bury your fiance, essentially, is what he's telling Thomas, which is, you know, just twisting the knife in his heart. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there were some intense moments in this season, I think, because since we're coming to the climax of the story, we have the Jesus wept scene with Lazarus and them raising him up, and that was interesting to have, just showing Lazarus's resurrection and Thomas's reaction to Lazarus being raised was wonderful. When Jesus teaches in the temple and the Pharisees, and probably Sadducees too, I don't remember who all was in the mix, but anyway, the religious leaders try to stone him, and you know, seeing, because in this situation, like the Bible would go, okay, and then they tried to stone him, and then just kind of say it, because the authors obviously, like, they understand exactly what stoning is, and they understand the implications, the consequences of that. Now, us as, especially like American Christians, but like modern Christians, we don't understand the consequences, I guess, of stoning. Like, we don't fully understand the concept of stoning. Intellectually, yes, we understand what it is, but seeing it on screen with like John getting hit in the head, and it adds a whole nother level to it. It's like, it's why the Passion of the Christ movie is so good, because intellectually, like, we know in our heads what happened when Jesus went to the cross, but having an entire movie dedicated to showing the brutality of that, in very realistic and gory detail, it adds a whole new level of understanding to what he actually did for us. And so this is a similar thing where it's like seeing what stoning actually is. They're literally chucking stones, and like, and not like pebbles, like stones at them, and not smooth stones, like jagged stones at them, and seeing like John get hit and everyone being a little beat up, but then literally having to flee for their lives because of it. It's just, it adds such a higher level to it, because you realize that just really you get another level of knowledge, of understanding of what stoning is really what it does, which is why I love visual, like, shows and movies and all that so much, and visual storytelling, is then it's not just relying on a person's imagination and how they envision what you're describing. It's showing them whether it be the beauty of something, the brutality of something, and just showing them kind of the truth of what you would be trying to describe it in words, on a screen. And so that's really the advantage I see to visual storytelling. Like, I love books with a passion, and I love being able to use my imagination to envision things that are happening, but there are definitely things that are meant to be adapted to visual, and there are things that I really appreciate seeing in the visual. So yes, visual storytelling is, I think, very, very important, especially for something like this, where we take something that we intellectually know about but don't understand the weight of, and having that shown visually to us through the storytelling is just very, very cool, and adds a level of understanding and kind of awe to what Jesus went through when he was on earth. So I love that we get to see this represented visually. It's so good that we get to see this visually, in my opinion, at least. Yeah. Those are my biggest thoughts on it. Were pretty much episode 3, and then like the stoning scene, and having all the emotion, the reactions that go with that. I also love the scene where the Roman soldiers force them to, carry their stuff a mile, and Jesus takes his teaching of, if someone makes you go a mile, go 2 with him, and literally does it. That's also a very cool scene, and seeing how the Roman soldiers kind of are like taken aback, and then start helping them as they struggle a little bit with all of the, armor and whatever that they're burdened with from the Roman soldiers. It's also a very cool scene. I really like it. Still haven't found anything to top the Peter walking on water scene. Gosh, that one was good. But still very, very well done, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the freaking emotions of everyone were insane. Also, starting to see the downfall of Judas, and him not fully understanding like really what the Messiah is supposed to be, where he's still holding on to like he's going to raise an army and we're going to like have a physical throne or whatever else that he's going to take and overthrow Rome, and him having him hold on to that, and him being a little bit influenced by his old master, mentor, whatever you want to call him, to be like, no, you're doing all this, like you should get paid for it, and kind of twisting the truth and the reality of it to cater towards Judas's greed and kind of stoke that desire inside of him, which is also always something I've been very interested in, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I've always wanted to see an interpretation. I'm not gonna take this as this is exactly how it went down, but like I've always wanted to see, why on earth would Judas betray Jesus? It's like, one of the 12, one of his closest followers, and being with him all of the time and hearing all of his teachings. What would make him betray him? Because in my mind, it's like, it has to be more than just his greed. Like, how could you, I don't know. I don't think I'm a very greedy person, so it could just be from a lack of understanding. But like, how do you let that greed get to a point where it's enough to make you turn on someone you believe is the Messiah? So it's interesting to see their interpretation of it. Again, not taking it as fact, obviously, because we don't no idea the truth. And honestly, God only knows the truth, because we can't see into a person's heart. Like, even if we could talk to like Peter or someone, they wouldn't really understand why either. because they don't know what's happening in his mind and his heart. So definitely not taking this as, this is fact, this is why, and this is how exactly it went down. But it's very interesting to see an interpretation of it beyond just the telling you kind of step by step what happened, because none of the authors of the Gospels were there for that part of it. They just know the few facts of like, hey, Judas betrayed him. He did it for this amount of money. And, he did it to the religious leaders. So clearly he went to them and agreed to do this. And then later, they find out, he hung himself. He killed himself because of what he did. Which shows a level of regret and again adds another level of like, okay, so if he then even after the fact killed himself because of what he did, why on earth did he do it in the first place? So that's been something that, especially in recent years, has been kind of, poking at the back of my mind, especially as I, read through the Gospels again. But yeah, it's very intriguing. One of the many questions that would be interesting to, ask God about when I eventually get there. But I also have the feeling that I'm not going to care when I get there. But yeah, I don't know. Very intriguing. Very well done. Acting is very good. They did have to recast Philip, which I don't get into all of the behind the scenes stuff and the politics of it, so I don't know why. I just know that they did. And I don't know. I really liked Philip in seasons 2 and 3. I think he's introduced into. Anyway, he showed up, and in his first interaction with I think Matthew, I just went, oh, so he's the dad character. He's the dad of the group because he's more mature, and like he followed John for a couple years, I think, before Jesus showed up. And so he has more experience, and just the way he acts with everyone, I'm just like, so he's the dad character. I don't know if this guy's got the same feel. I haven't seen enough of him because he was missing in the first episode, and then he hasn't done a whole lot in the rest of them. So we'll see. I don't know if it's the same feel. I definitely had to do a double take because this guy's got short hair and other guy had shoulder length hair. But, details. I definitely did not know who he was at first, though. I mistook him for, like, John or something. And then I saw John farther down the line because they were walking down the road. I'm like, oh, no, that's the new guy for Philip. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, those are my thoughts on season 4 of The Chosen. Hopefully I'll watch season 5 sooner after it comes out than I did with season 4. But, we'll see. If not, I will get around to it, because this is one of the first shows in a while where I sat down and I didn't want to stop watching it, even though it was like my bedtime and I needed to sleep because I work early in the morning, and I was like, but I don't want to. I would rather stay up and watch The Chosen, but I chose to be responsible. Plus, when I choose to be responsible and go to bed, it means it takes me longer to get through the season, so therefore it doesn't end as soon. Anyway, yeah, feel free to drop your thoughts, recommendations, requests in the comments. I post videos on this channel every Wednesday and Saturday, and then on the audiobook channel on Thursdays. I'll see you next time.